Rain lashed down, heavy, relentless. The rainforest steamed, air thick, suffocating. We were trapped, 5 medical students on a humanitarian mission. Now just survivors. Our jeep shuddered, engine spluttering, dead. We were miles from the village, deeper into the rainforest. Panic edged in. The storm intensified. Thunder roared, shaking the very earth. Lightning flashed, illuminating the jungle in a ghostly strobe. "We need shelter now," I yelled over the wind. My name's Ben, the unofficial leader of our ragtag group. We had Maya, calm and collected, David, the jokester masking his fear, quiet, observant Sarah, and Emily, always the optimist, even now. We grabbed our packs, meager protection against the elements. We plunged into the wall of green, seeking refuge. Every shadow seemed to writhe, every rustle of leaves a whispered threat. The storm was relentless, but something else stirred in the jungle. Something unseen. We stumbled through the undergrowth for what felt like hours, soaked, exhausted. Hope dwindled with every flash of lightning. Just as despair threatened to engulf us, David shouted, "Look!" He pointed ahead. Through the driving rain, a shape emerged. A building, low, sprawling, barely visible in the gloom. A beacon in the storm. We surged forward, adrenaline pushing us onward. As we got closer, the outline became clearer. It was a school. Old, dilapidated, but still standing. A refuge. A shiver ran down my spine. We were in the heart of the rainforest, miles from any known settlement. What was a school doing here? The question hung unanswered as we stumbled towards the building, seeking sanctuary from the storm. The school was eerily silent, save for the wind howling through broken windows. The air hung heavy with the smell of mildew and decay. We cautiously made our way inside. The storm raged outside, but in here, an unsettling stillness prevailed. We found ourselves in what was once a hallway. Classrooms lined either side, their doors hanging open like gaping mouths. The only light came from the storm outside, intermittent flashes illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. Then we saw it, a faint glow, greenish, emanating from one of the classrooms at the end of the hallway. It pulsed faintly like a heartbeat. Fear, cold and sharp, pierced through the exhaustion. We exchanged uneasy glances. Curiosity warred with primal fear. "What is that?" Emily whispered, her voice barely audible above the wind. No one had an answer, but we all knew. We had to find out. We moved cautiously towards the eerie green light. Each step echoed in the silence. The air grew colder. The smell of decay stronger. My heart pounded against my ribs. As we neared the classroom, the green light intensified. It pulsed now, casting flickering shadows on the walls. We reached the doorway, hesitated. The unknown lay before us. "Hello?" I called out, my voice hoarse. Silence. Only the wind whistling through the broken window answered. Taking a deep breath, I stepped into the room. The others followed, their faces pale and drawn. The green glow came from a lantern hanging from the ceiling. It swung gently, casting grotesque shadows that danced on the walls. The room was bare except for a single table and chair in the center. On the table lay a book, its pages open. And then we heard it. Whispers, faint and indistinct, seeming to emanate from the very walls themselves. The hair on the back of my neck stood on end. We stood frozen, listening to the whispers. They seemed to swirl around us, pronouncements in a language we couldn't understand. Goosebumps prickled my skin. The room felt charged with an unseen energy. I approached the table cautiously, my gaze drawn to the book. It was old, bound in leather, its pages filled with faded ink and strange diagrams. As I reached out to touch it, the whispers intensified, becoming urgent, almost frantic. "What does it say?" Maya asked, her voice hushed. I shook my head. I couldn't read the language, but the diagrams, they were anatomical drawings, but not of any human I'd ever seen. The proportions were all wrong. The bones strangely elongated, the muscles impossibly intertwined. The wind howled outside, rattling the windows in their frames. Or was it the wind? The sound seemed to be coming from inside the room now, a low, mournful wail that sent shivers down my spine. We were not alone here. Suddenly, the lantern flickered, casting grotesque shadows that danced on the walls. The whispers reached a fever pitch, swirling around us like a vortex of unseen energy. Then, as quickly as it began, it stopped. Silence descended, heavy and absolute. I looked up from the book, my heart pounding. The others stood frozen, their eyes wide with fear. The green glow of the lantern flickered again and then died, plunging us into darkness. Panic threatened to consume us. We fumbled for our flashlights, their beams cutting through the darkness like knives. We huddled together, our breaths misting in the cold air. What had happened? What had we stumbled upon? As our eyes adjusted to the darkness, we noticed something strange. In the faint glow of our flashlights, we could see that the walls of the classroom were covered in symbols. They were the same symbols that were in the book, intricate and disturbing. And they seemed to writhe and pulsate in the darkness, as if alive. We were trapped in a nightmare, and the nightmare was just beginning. What did the symbols mean? Why were they here? The questions hung in the air, heavy and unanswered. We had stumbled upon a mystery in the heart of the rainforest, and the storm raged on, trapping us in its midst.